Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT, here from Central Virginia, Weather Risk. I'm your captain of chaos. I am your Colonel of Confusion, and as always, the commander of catastrophe. Let's talk about This Week in Weather for this October 2nd. A lot of things to talk about here. First, one last potentially hurrah Atlantic hurricane season, maybe two, but I only think one. And the other one is, of course, the other topic here is early season big snow cover buildup in Siberia. Before we get into it, I want to apologize. I should have got this out several hours earlier, but the wife gave me a bunch of household chores to do, and it's such a nice weather outside. A lot of it was outdoor activity, so came in here a couple hours later than I wanted to. Any event, let's get right into it. This here, of course, is the website, and of course, right here you can see on the shop page, you can get all the different products, which you can see here. Again, this is the Mid-Atlantic forecast, only $35 a month. And it's got the climate in here, your forecast, the 12 Maryland, Delaware, West Virginia, North Carolina, broke up into 12 zones. And you can see your maps and a couple of week 2 outlook as well. Only $35 a month, comes out 4 times a week. It's a really good product. Sometimes it comes out every day, depending on what's going on the weather-wise. All right, also this here is a Twitter page, which I'm sure you may have already seen. And this here is the Blue Sky page as well. All right, let's get into it and see what's going on here. So this is the sea surface temperature map as of October 1. And you can see the North Pacific is still extremely warm, but it's broken up into 2 areas. One along the Eastern Pacific, along the west coast of North America. Then a pool of incredibly warm water, that white and blue-brown color, that's 5 degrees, 6 degrees centigrade. That's 11 degrees above normal in the North Central Pacific. So the entire North Pacific is very warm, as you can see. And then also the north, along the equator here, the ENSO, it's also quite, you can see the ENSO, La Nina is underway, is really what this is. And the La Nina is very pronounced. It's not a very strong one, but it definitely is there. You can see the latest data, and you can see, as of October 1, you can see the general downward trend here. Now, we're around minus 0.6 right now. So we're not yet even cold, not yet cold enough for a moderate La Nina. Long way to go for that. And the other thing about this La Nina is that it's stair-stepping. You can see bump. It's going, bump, 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 bump. It's not dropping rapidly. So, and if we look at the trend over the last several days, you can see that the Northern Pacific has cooled off quite a bit, as you can see. I think the blue color is about 1 degree centigrade below normal, dark blue, a degree and a half, and then you get the green colors, 2.5 degrees. So off the coast of Japan, the temperatures have really dropped off there. But again, the water temperature is still incredibly warm. This has just changed over the last 7 days. Now here in our tropics, as you can see, not much is going on. This little thing right here, this is the remains of Imelda right here, and up here is probably the remains of Humberto. But there's nothing going on here in the tropics at all. And we'll discuss that briefly here. Here's the MJO for October. You can see the European on the left, the CFS on the right. The red line is the next 5 days. The blue line is the next 10 days, 5 to 10 days, and the purple line is 15 to 20, or 11 to 15, 11 to 20 day. And as you can see, almost all those lines, they're in the middle. They're not doing anything. There's a little movement here right now, the next 5 days in phase 2. You can see the red line there. A little bit of phase 2 right here. See that? Phase 2 right there. Okay. But outside of that, everything's stuck in the middle. If you look at the European ensemble, we see more of the same thing. So here we are right now, the red dot. Okay, that's the next 5 days. We were in phase 2. You follow the black line, that's the mean. You go back in the neutral circle. Then you go back into phase 1 around the orange or the blue dots. Well, that's day 10, day 15. So in the 10 to 15 day, middle of October, you go into phase 1, and then maybe phase 2 potentially. And that's really good for hurricane activity. So that's another interesting sign. Then after that, we may go into phase 3 or 4 if we don't go back in the neutral circle. Now, so what does that mean? Well, besides the hurricane activity, what this means is the following. Right now we're in phase 2. So, as you can see, phase 2 is very dry in the Midwest. The plain states pretty wet on the East Coast. And then for the temperatures, it's again a little below normal east of the Mississippi River, warmer than normal in the upper plains. Now we go into phase 2. If we go into if we do go in here into phase 2, what does that mean? Well, but in middle October, late October, that would be really wet for everybody from the Mississippi River to the East Coast. And the temperatures run above normal. And we'll see that that's actually probably what's going to happen. So the other thing I want to point out here, now this is the plot for the last 40 days. All right, on the left-hand side, and the one on the right is the 90-day. And the point here is that the MJO has been stuck in the neutral circle for quite a while. Last 40 days, last 90 days, since early July. Mostly it's been in the neutral circle. There are a lot of reasons for that, and mostly has to do with the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean El Nino, it's not what it's called. I don't want to bombard you with too many technical terms, but that's still kicking in, and as a result, we can't get the MJO moving out of the Indian Ocean area, which is, in phase 1 and phase 8. It's stuck back there. So eventually, as we go into October, the Indian Ocean La Nina ENSO, this is called the Indian Ocean ENSO, will come down, break down, and the MJ will begin to wake up and get out of the neutral phase. But right now, it's still stuck in the neutral phase. It's not doing much. Okay, let's talk about what's happened here. This is ending Humberto and Imelda. So this is a big map. This is now from Wednesday afternoon. You can see a couple of features here. See this big trough here? This is what killed it. That's Humberto, and that's Imelda right here. And you can see this trough grabbing the systems and ripping them apart. But let me show you what I mean. This is an enlargement here of the Western Atlantic East Coast. And again, this is Wednesday, yesterday. Here's the big trough. All right, one piece of the trough is here, the other piece is here. So this disturbance right here, that's remains of Humberto right here. And this right here is Imelda. So as the trough grabbed Humberto, it ripped it apart and weakened it. And the remains of the system got pulled into the much stronger, more powerful hurricane, Imelda. But both of these systems are caught by the trough, and now Imelda is being ripped apart as it's being pulled northward. So that's just to show you what happened here. So originally, as you remember, Humberto was the hurricane, and Imelda was the weak one. So Imelda got pulled towards Humberto. But here, once Humberto got destroyed and Imelda became the strong system, the remains of Humberto got pulled back into Imelda. So easy come, easy go. All right, let's talk about potential hurricane activity down the road. This is the 200 millibar velocity potential anomalies. I get this from the weather models and several other sites as well. But this is one of them. And again, how to read this, it may seem complicated. Here's your dates here, okay? Now, we want to look for the greens, and the darker the greens, the more active vertical velocity there is in the atmosphere. When you have strong vertical velocity, you have more thunderstorms and tropical depressions and strong tropical waves. When you have orange and dark orange, you have suppression, sinking air, which kills tropical systems from developing, or any sort of weather systems from developing. So here's the Atlantic down here, okay? Right there, see the Atlantic? This is Africa, there's South America, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico. See this dark green area right here? This dark green area corresponds to the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see it really gets quite strong and active after October 7th and continues through October 13th or 14th. After that, the green becomes lighter, but that's where your strong window is. So if something's going to form, it's going to be the middle of October. And that also matches, as I discussed here, with the MJO, big in phase 1 and phase 2, there, in that time frame. Now, besides the 200 millibar velocity potential anomalies, the VPAs, we also have some models. Here's the GFS ensemble. This is from Weather Nerds. And you can see there's a main system here. Now, there's two of them. It appears to be something in the Northwest Caribbean, which often happens in October. And then you have this tropical system, Cape Verde, and it gets turned, looks like all the members are turning it to the north and northeast out to sea long before it approaches the East Coast. This is valid October 11th. This is the European ensemble, and here we can clearly see early on there's a system coming at a very strong signal for a tropical wave or tropical depression on October 8th and 9th as it approaches the northern Leeward Islands. And then by October 12th, you can see the European ensemble is very strong, that tropical system, whether it's a Cape Verde tropical storm or hurricane, is going to get turned north out to sea by the time it reaches Puerto Rico. In the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico, there are some indications of something there, but it's not a very strong signal. Let me call it up here, right in here. It's just not a very strong signal. And the Google DeepMind model is showing the same thing. Again, a lot of these models had a much stronger signal in the Gulf of Mexico yesterday, but today they don't. So this is the Google DeepMind model. As you can see, The spread is pretty big. It's got some headed towards Bahamas, some and then northwest Atlantic, and some turning to the north. This is valid as of October 12th. We go October 15th, the spread is very strong. Some of them get a little closer to Bermuda, but it's still well to the east, off the east coast here. And there's nothing going on in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. See that? Nothing on the Google DeepMind. Now that could change, but right now it looks like this is probably the last Cape Verde system of the season, no doubt about that. Okay, let's talk about the operational weather here in North America and the eastern U.S. So this map here is valid for Friday night, Saturday. And we have the big upper low dropping into California and Utah, Nevada, you can see that, and another trough in western Canada. So this ridge gets pushed from Canada southward into the Midwest here, and the high pressure comes off the coast, off to the north, gets dropped right over Virginia. So this is now for a Friday night into Saturday, and the high pressure is right over Virginia, clear skies, light winds, nice radiational cooling, and this high dominates the weather all the way from the Rockies to off the East Coast. Only along the front, well to the south, is any sort of shower thunderstorm activity. Nice weekend coming up, really nice weekend. Okay, then what happens is, of course, by the time we get to middle of next week, we get to Sunday, Monday, the high moving off the coast. And you're getting a now return flow here, and that means southwesterly winds in the Midwest. Now, the East Coast is still getting a northeast wind a little bit, but eventually it's highly off the coast, and everybody's getting a southwest wind. So this is windy and dry here in the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes. The front is still well to the south. If we look at the upper air map, the trough gets very strong over the Rockies, extending from California to Montana, and then the ridge runs from Quebec down to Arkansas and Mississippi and Tennessee and Missouri. So right along here is the boundary, right along this boundary right here. So you can see it. That's where the front's going to be, right through this area here. And this little kink here in the line, that corresponds to the low pressure area in South Dakota. So that's going to be the next big front coming through. Now, eventually, of course, the ridge is going to be very strong ahead of the front. So temperatures and southwest winds by next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can see southwest winds ahead of the front over the East Coast, the Ohio Valley, deep south. Temperatures are going to get well up into the 80s. Could even reach 85 plus in many areas. But the front is coming southward. You can see there's a significant trough coming southward here, and it is going to drive the front through. But you have to make it all the way through past October 8th or 9th before there's any cooling. Eventually, the front does come south. This is October 9th. The front is way down in North Carolina, as you can see. Oops, change that. That's wrong. See down here, the big giant high, 1038 millibars. Somewhat cool air. Nice ridge here. The high, there's a northwest flow, so you're getting some cool air into the New England mid-Atlantic again. Not so much the upper Midwest. And then this big trough, another giant upper low in the Pacific Northwest, a trough in California. So these two features are going to get together and form a big trough, and this ridge will go back to the eastern United States, and it'll warm back up again. So up with the temperatures, then down, then up with the temperatures, then down. Very typical for early mid-October. So here, this is the operational European. Now, this solution is a little goofy. I don't think this is right, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So this is now day 9, all right? And what happens is the model, as you can see, for some reason that don't quite understand, you see this little, see a little trough right here, all on the southeast coast. The European is taking this trough and pulling it southward into the Gulf of Mexico and forming an upper low here over Florida, intensifies it. Now, I don't know if that's a tropical system or what that is. It might be. It might just be an upper low. It might be subtropical. I don't know. In the meantime, the European also has another tropical wave coming east. Now, this is the one a lot of the models are taking out to the north. But the midday European has it going, passing very close to Puerto Rico, heading in a more or less westerly direction, not going out to sea. So it also appears to be following the upper low, because this upper low is going to move westward. It's going to retrograde towards Texas. And this hurricane or tropical cyclone is going to go west, following it behind it. Meanwhile, you have this nice battle zone right here in the Rockies. But everybody east of the Rockies, underneath the ridge, it's warm, it's dry, and it's mid-October. And you can see what happens. The upper low is here in Florida. At the surface, there's some sort of subtropical low here off the Florida Savannah coast. You're getting strong winds on the East Coast, 30, 40 miles an hour, right? Now, right now, the high is strong enough to keep any rain off the coast. But it's possible the rain could get into eastern Virginia, the Delmarva, maybe, I don't think southern New Jersey, but definitely the Delmarva. And then, of course, the rain could go a little further inland. Now, finally, what happens by day 11, day 12, the upper low moves to the central Gulf of Mexico, and the hurricane that was north of Puerto Rico crosses the Hispaniola and moves into Jamaica. You see how it's following it? Okay, so there's the upper low here, and now there it goes, follows it. See what it does? Yeah. Meanwhile, the ridge is very strong over the Midwest and the East Coast, so it's warm and it's dry. And this is what that looks like at the operational European. So there's the upper low we talked about here, okay, on October 11th. There's the surface low, and there's the hurricane. North of Puerto Rico, the Hispaniola. And then, as you can see, October, this is 12th, October 13th, yep. That moves into the Northwest Caribbean, and then late on the 13th, the Yucatan Channel at 936 millibars, Category 4 hurricane. Category 4 hurricane, I should say. Now, I have no idea if this is correct. I know there's some potential for this. I know the Northwest Caribbean is always a breeding ground in October for powerful hurricanes. This has climatology working for it, and it has the 200 millibar velocity potential anomalies working for it as well, which we talked about here, because that definitely favors the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. Now, the problem is that most of the hurricane ensembles don't show this yet, but this is way out there, folks. This is way, way out there. This is, you know, Jesus, that's day 15. I mean, you know, so don't get excited about it yet. I'm just putting it out there for your consideration. All right, that's that. Now let's talk about downtown Siberia. Now, why are we talking about Siberia going to October? Well, there is research out there that shows during the month of October, the buildup of snow cover in Siberia, how fast it builds up is important, as well as the extensive coverage. That's called the SCE, snowfall coverage, the extent of the snowfall coverage, okay? And the advance, the SAI, snowfall advance index. So there's two things about Siberia snow cover we want to look at. So this is the map here for October 1. And this squiggly line here, this represents a ridge. But look at the big upper low here in central Russia and these two big short waves coming out of Kazakhstan, headed towards southern Siberia. Sure enough, that causes snow to develop. And you can see some snow to the north already on the ground here. Very light stuff, as you can see. Look at the scale at the bottom. You know, you're talking like 10 centimeters. It's not great. But what happens is the pattern gets pretty active. So the fleet shortwave undergoes the rapid intensification, becomes a big closed upper low, moving through Mongolia right here into southern Siberia. And then the second one behind it is very strong and vigorous as well. And that follows. So this system goes to here, and then this system goes to here, and then another one comes in behind it. So bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. And you have three different systems. And these are going to drop significant snow in these areas. Now the ridge is very strong to the south, over Manchuria and Japan and China. It's very hot and it's dry there, no doubt about it. But that's what this pattern set up. Okay. As we go to October, this is October 10, the ridge is still very strong over China and Japan, but we have additional shortwave energies and upper lows coming in across Siberia, okay, and northwest China, that moving to eastern Siberia and setting up the active stormy pattern. Now, eventually, we do get some ridging over Manchuria and eastern Siberia, which would shut off the snow and bring milder temperatures, but it only lasts for a day or two because you have this new upper low here and then two other short waves coming in. So these two features get together and they just knock the hell out of this ridge, and everybody gets a lot of early snow buildup cover. And you can see that here. Now the ridge is getting suppressed. You see how the ridge is now finally leaving Manchuria. And you have a giant upper low in eastern Siberia, and another one just in central Siberia, north of Mongolia. This is a tremendous snow pattern, if this is correct. All right, so what does that look like? Well, here's the GFS for the next 10 to 12 days. You can see through October 13th, and it's got extensive snow cover. And then this is the European buildup, also pretty extensive with the snow cover, especially into central Russia. Now, of course, we are assuming this is correct, and we have to see how advanced to the south the snow cover develops. But if this is correct, we're off to a pretty good start for the first 10, 13, 14 days of October. Another way we can tell this, finally, this is my last set of slides here, is taking a look at the 850 temperatures. Now remember, for those of you to forget your basic snow stuff, the 850 millibars, which is 1 mile above the ground, that's your range snow line. So if the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade at that line or colder, and it's cold enough at the surface, the precipitation will fall as snow. So that's what we're looking at. We want to see the extent of the 850 temperatures here. So this is now October 2nd. In the upper left, let me blow this up a little bit. And you can see this is the zero line is right in here. And then pool of minus 10, 850s, which is pretty cold. And then we go to October 7th, October 12th, I should say. Let me see what the date of this is. Yep, October 12th. And now you can see a huge expanse of the 850 temperatures. You see how much bigger the 850s are? Over here, let me shrink this map a little bit down a little bit. Here, early on, October 2nd, all the 850 temperatures are in far northeast Siberia. Now, as you can see, they cover extensively into central Siberia, and they're even colder than that. Some areas are minus 13, minus 14, 850 temperatures. And this is day 15 by October 16, 17. Now the 850 temperatures minus 10 have expanded all the way west to central Russia for the first time. And they're dropping south. Originally, if you remember back here, then they have not. Let me move this map a little bit. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay. So right here, the zero line is way up here. Look where Manchuria is and east, southeast by Vladivostok, really quite mild here. Okay, by the time you get to day 15, boom, everything's dropped southward. So again, we'll see how it plays out. Last year we got off to a great start and it faded in the second half of the season, so there's no reason, but it's off to a good start. And it's better to be off to a good start now than off to a better start in the second half. All right, this is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I will see you over the Weather Risk Range Twitter page and over on the website, and the Blue Sky page and the Facebook page.